So as I'm reading books, I'm starting to get in the habit of really thinking about like what I'm going to say in these 3-minute reviews. So when I read like I Am John Galt, I had all kinds of different like what am I going to say? Is it going to be a positive review, a negative review? I went through all sorts of different things. And it's because there are certain parts of the book I like and others I don't like. For one, I went into the book immediately not liking it because of the concept itself behind it. Because the book, for those that don't know, I Am John Galt is basically saying, here's a bunch of characters from Ayn Rand's fiction books. We're going to try to compare them to people in real life, both good and bad. So they're saying, like, John Galt is John Allison. Howard Rourke, I believe, was Steve Jobs. People like that. They went through and just did all these comparisons. And at the very base of it, without reading the book at all, besides the cover page or the first few pages, I generally didn't like it because I disagree with the idea of making character comparisons like this. Because Ayn Rand wrote that, like, these people aren't really meant to be real human beings. They're not meant to be, like, you're not supposed to look at these and see these people in everyday life. That these are nothing but character archetypes. They're just representations of an ideal. They're just they're characters that are less characters and more representations of an ideal person, or the opposite of a bad person. And so it's hard to compare these people to real life because they are perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect being, but these people are perfect, either perfect good or perfect evil, and whatever they represent. So going out and comparing someone to these characters, it's I don't like that concept because the book was basically a bunch of biographies, really. It's just a bunch of short biographies on people, and I thought a lot of them were very interesting. Like some of these I went through and I didn't really care that much, but a lot of these people, surprisingly, I'd never heard of some of these before. And I went through and I was actually like, wow, like these are some good biographies. I really enjoyed reading the book, I'll say that much. I really enjoyed it, but my issue was I couldn't really rely on the book too much because if I want to read about Steve Jobs, I want to read a biography on Steve Jobs from the perspective of someone that is not trying to prove a point. They're not trying to say Steve Jobs is great. They're not trying to say Steve Jobs is terrible. They're just saying this is who he was. And I'll use the Steve Jobs example repeatedly because that's the first person in the book. But that's the whole issue. Like, when it comes to this book, they're not trying to just lay out who he was. They're trying to say why he was great, which means they have to leave out why he was terrible. So I haven't read that much on these people in terms of, like, just information about their lives. So it left me thinking, like, are these people good? Are these people bad? I don't really know because it's obviously aimed in a certain perspective. Although there is one on Alan Greenspan, which I think ends very well. Like, they have a good ending to it on what they included. So overall, I would recommend it as a supplement to other people. I think it would have been better if I had learned about these people before and then read the books because you learn some interesting tidbits. Like, it's just really great. But that's my issue, is just because the book is obviously biased in one direction, because that's what they're trying to prove. I'm not saying, like, they're biased when they didn't intend to be, that was their full intention. It's just hard to really take anything from it as a whole. Like, you can take little tidbits, but again, like, if they're saying Paul Krugman is Ellsworth Toohey, I don't know that many good things about Paul Krugman, but this book certainly didn't include any because they're obviously trying to prove that he's not that great, and so on. But yeah, that's where I'll end it there. I don't even know. I guess I recommend it, but not by itself. Like, you can't judge a character based just on what you, or a person, I should say, just based on what you read in this book. But overall, yeah, it wasn't bad. I just, like, it was an enjoyable book. I just disagreed with the concept of it as a whole. But, like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.